Welcome to Search Party, the podcast where we swap stories on what's working in search right now and what's worth trying next. I'm your host, Amanda Milligan, and I am joined by the delightful Jess Joyce. Jess is a Toronto-based SEO and visibility strategist. We met online. We can't remember where or when. But then we met in person at Women in Tech SEO a few years ago, and it was so amazing to actually face-to-face get to hang out with her because she is a genius and hilarious. Today, she's here to talk about how to effectively measure AI visibility. Welcome to the show, Jess.
Thank you, Amanda. I think all the things you just said about me need to go back to you as well. So, yeah, that's because that's how women doing podcast works.
That's right. I love that. Well, I'm very excited because I love talking to you no matter what. But one of the things that I wanted to start the interview with is, in my intro, I said you are an SEO and visibility strategist. And this was not always, you were known as an SEO consultant, and everybody called you an SEO consultant. People still do to this day. But you have evolved your offering. And I think a lot of people are in this situation. I think a lot of SEOs, whether they're internal or consulting or agency, are trying to figure out how to repackage what they're doing and evolve their perspective. So I'd love to hear about your journey in doing that. What was the moment that made you realize, like, okay, I need to change the way that I'm doing things? And what is your philosophy now?
Well, I think titles are a little throwaway. I think what you do is more important than your title, but title is the first thing that people get to see about you. So I think I've just been so many things throughout the entirety of my career, even though it's all been focused on this box that we're talking through.
Yeah.
I've just been so many things. Like, I started as a front-end developer. I was a Flash developer for all the olds in the room. I've been marketer. I've been all the things at all different times of my career. So I felt that this has been a natural switch, honestly. Because I've never, I still to this day don't feel like I'm 100% in SEO. I don't think what I do on a daily basis is 100% in SEO.
Why is that?
I just have never wanted to rest my whole career on it. It's like everything in marketing, it's an evolution. Like when Sean Ellis started that whole growth hacking thing, I was like, cool, but I want to know more. I was like, where did this come from? Why are people calling themselves that? And what's the long-term benefit of me calling myself that? And I don't think I ever got fully bought into it. So as far as the visibility stuff, though, I think that's helpful because of all the LLMs is really the journey that I've taken. Because as soon as people started sticking their hand up and being like, SEO is not a term that I would use to find somebody, I was like, crap. So
that happened. You heard that.
Yeah. And I was like, I can't rest my career on a term that people aren't going to be able to find me or my company by. So I started riffing on a bunch of things. And I've used organic growth as well, which I think is probably my longest one that I'm going to honestly rest my career on. But visibility is more the higher layer is what we do.
Yeah. So let's talk more about that word, right? Because it's coming up a lot. We use it a lot at SEMrush. What is your definition? You're talking about visibility. Is it brand awareness? When you say visibility and you're on a sales call and you're talking to somebody, how are you saying it is so critical for marketing?
Fantastic question. I'm still working on my wording for this as well, because as you know, there's new stuff that's coming out every week right now, especially in this phase. So as far as we're counting visibility, it's making sure the brands that we work with are shown throughout both sides of the coin right now, right? So the traditional search being Google and Bing, because we can't count Bing at this moment in time. All of those guys who we DuckDuckGo even for the love of cheese and crackers, honestly. And then the LLMs. So but those the LLMs being the answer to whatever question that people are looking for. And at least just showing that the brand shows up there. So that's the visibility layer, is at least just showing that you're by traditional search standards, indexed and ranking for stuff. Stuff.
So there's multiple tiers, right? There's literally like, can you even be capable of being shown?
Exactly.
And then, are you actually being shown, and at what level?
Exactly. And that's how we sell it at this point. So like, it all starts with that technical layer of like, are you even in the point where you can be shown throughout the ecosphere of what the modern internet is? Wow, that sounds really smart.
You are smart, but I digress. What are you seeing? Where are your clients kind of falling in that range?
It's all over the place. We find that and this is the biggest question right now, because I think attribution is right.
Yeah.
It's literally throw up right now, and it's all over the place. And I think this is going to be a fuzzy journey for a couple years now, because like when we first started in search, we were just kind of like, and I feel like it's kind of like this again, right? Like, we're just kind of like, are you showing up? Cool. What does that mean? I don't know yet. So we have we make sure that people are showing up, or at least that, like, for our frameworks, which are a lot of bofu kind of stuff, and a lot of making sure that people are finding you, or your ICP is finding you for the questions that you want to answer, right? Like, so for like SEMrush, like, is what companies can help me with my AI visibility, right? Like, that kind of stuff, right? Like, not just being like outside of the brand, because like we don't really do brand building. That's like not as it all falls into it, I think, at a point, but like, we like to make sure that like the folks who are looking for you can find you when they're needing you, right? The questions that you're looking for. So like, that's how we're kind of connecting visibility. But how to attribute that at the moment, I'm still all over the map about.
Well, speaking of attribution, the Bing announcement recently was a really positive step forward. You want to talk about your reaction to that and your first impressions?
My first impressions were my longest held hypothesis is starting to come true, because of ChatGPT and OpenAI being a connection to Microsoft. I sat there in the background being like, everybody install Bing Webmaster Tools, because maybe we'll get some data out of OpenAI/ChatGPT/ whatever. That's my longest held belief. But I think OpenAI and Microsoft's relationship might not be as clear and, connected as I once thought they were. So I don't think that we're going to get that information through that anymore. My hypothesis is switching. But we do get information out of Copilot. So, and my favorite part is that it's first party data. So like, Google, where's our AI data, right? Like, Anthropic, where's our AI data? Claude, where's our AI data? Nobody across this whole new landscape that we've been given access to is giving us any first-party data. Nobody. Bing were the first ones to show up and actually give us that, which I actually did have on my bingo card for once in a lifetime.
I feel like I want to hear your whole bingo card later, just to see what other predictions you have, because if they're coming true.
Just this one. Honestly, I've had so many bad ones. This is a good one.
So I know that it's not a perfect, like you said, the attribution is not a perfect process, but there is this appetite for it right now, right? This appetite for visibility. How do you decide, like when a client comes to you, there's this active debate around, oh, you should care about it right now because you want to, prepare yourself for the future, or, oh, well, if your audience isn't really using it, then maybe you don't need to invest a lot into it. Yeah. So what is your stance on this? Like when somebody comes to you, does it depend on the company? Does it depend on, where they currently stand in search? Like what is your overarching recommendation?
So they, if they're going to work with us, they have to fit in like a certain amount of requirements anyway. So, as long as they fit in sort of that requirement, then then people will be using AI to answer questions to look for them.
Yeah.
is the short answer. Like, and the cat's out of the box. Like, we're not going backwards. People, like, the downward trend of people using AI is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the only downward trend that I think I can see right now is people using less ChatGPT, because Claude is slowly inching away at this moment.
Right.
Who knows what'll happen 6-12 months from now, but like that. So yeah, people are definitely using the LLMs for answering questions. So yes, definitely. It's just a matter of how we're going to get the information that the prompts they're using, and what we're going to do with that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, right? Because like we said, the base level is, can LLMs even figure out who you are, right?
Right.
Get on that level. But then it's the level of how much time, effort, and prioritization do you need to spend? That's, to me, that's always the hardest part of all marketing, is the prioritization, because there's, at any given point, 15 things you can be doing to improve visibility.
Yeah.
But, how do you mentioned that you kind of focus on the middle and the bottom of the funnel, which makes a lot of sense. So how do you hone in on what's next? When you start the project for, you and your team, you're like, okay, what's step 1, 2, and 3?
So step 1 is we get an onboarding doc for our clients, and then we send it to them without saying anything. Like, they know the way our kind of process works because they're bought into it, but then we try to not feed them any sort of words that we use internally, and we try to get them to fill out all of our onboarding doc. And our onboarding doc includes a lot of like persona questions, and ICP questions, and like questions in just a general way of thinking, and how they answer that informs how we move forward. Because I find that, like, the people who are internally at these companies know more about who they're talking to than we would, right? Like, I can go out on the internet and I can use all sorts of words, but they're going to use the words better than I will. So
Yeah.
That informs the entirety of our research, honestly. Well, not the entirety, because then it goes back in phases and back and forth depending on that. And then if their product changes and stuff, then we have to have iterations within that, because that's literally just happened to us too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like, I try not to put our like SEO hats, or like organic visibility, or whatever I'm calling myself at this point, hat on, and like lead the conversations in that direction, because then it leads it in my way of thinking and my words that I end up using. And I hate to be that like limited. Right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, adapting that for, an in-house marketer, it sounds like the advice is basically start from your audience, which is so much of the foundational stuff, right? It's like, go back to who you're trying to serve, how the language that they're using online. Because that's the interesting opportunity going from Google to LLMs, is how, like, the long tail natural language, right? We get to think more and more about that versus, a few word phrase or something. So it seems like a good opportunity for that too. And hopefully your onboarding doc leads them to take a beat, right? And
sometimes it does. Sometimes it takes them a week or two to get back to us, and multiple people collaborating on it. And we try to get product input into it. And then my favorite thing that I've been trying to get pulling out of people is to get like sales calls out of somebody. Because like the person that you're talking to has no idea who you are, and they're going to ask you questions that maybe like 5 other people would want to answer, right? So like pulling that out of people is the way to go, in my opinion, because then you're going to actually make the most people convert in that way, and then you're going to answer the questions as per Google's, longest held mechanisms of answering people's questions. Like, it's still that at the end of the day, and I think LLMs will still be that, right? It's just the tail has no end to it now. Like,
right.
The long tail just is the longest tail.
The longest tail sounds like a really bad SEO movie. That might
it does, doesn't it? The endless tail.
Ooh.
It's like a horizon now, right? Like, it never ends.
Yeah.
Remember, like, writing those or drawing those horizon drawings in school? Maybe it's just like the horizon. Take that, Mark Anderson.
Yeah, no, it's it's a great point. Are you able to share one or two of those questions, like basically those prompts that people can watching this kind of use on their own brand?
We ask people what questions that their sales team asks on the call, or like and what your ICP looks like. Like who are the people that you're talking to, right? Like, because if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody at the end of the day.
I completely agree
So
with that.
a lot, and it's weird for me to say all this because I know we're SEOs, but a lot of this is just marketing.
Well, doesn't it feel like that line has really blurred more than ever now? It doesn't
So much
feel
more.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like anybody's just like you were saying, it's like to be boxed in to SEO, it just doesn't exist.
It can't, and you can't, like, and people have been saying this for years, that SEOs need to work across teams and stuff, but I think now is the tipping point. Like, you can't sit there in your corner and just optimize for keywords, and think that you're gonna produce long-term results. Like, that's just not gonna happen. For all of our engagements, we work with at least, like, a product person, or, like, a CMO, or somebody in, like, some sort of higher echelon, or devs directly, right? Like, you have to, or else you're just not gonna win.
Yeah. So that's step one. You collect this information.
Oh yeah.
Then what's step two?
And then we then our team takes it into a whole bunch of different places, and then we use a clustering tool on top of that. So we tend to, like, pull out the old school, I'm even gonna call it old school information now, because I think that's where we're at, is because keyword volumes are, like, gonna be a thing of the past. Oh gosh, I think they will.
Is this a live realization?
Yes.
Happening?
I think keyword volumes are going to be a thing of the past, honestly. Like, they're great as a starting point, but I don't think they're anything that you should rest your entire campaign on.
Talk more about that. Let's pause and talk more about that.
Because of that initial research that we've done for, like, your ICP and the words that people are using, those don't always match up to keyword volumes. So, like, they kind of can sit on their own, is what we're finding. So, like, us making content based off of keyword volumes isn't always the play, right? Like, I take more stake in what my client's saying is the questions that people are asking, or their pain points. Pain points is the other thing that we get out of them. The pain points that they're really looking to solve are their differentiators as well, right? Like, that I would put more of my money and my time onto those three things than I would off of a keyword saying that you're going to get 300,000 clicks. Because odds are that one, the maturity of those SERPs has become to a point where it's going to be used, abused, and manipulated to the nth degree, which is fine, but I would just rather get less traffic and get the people who are actually going to convert into the product than just going for something because it has a fancy keyword volume. Does that make sense?
Yeah, hence why it seems like there's such a movement toward lower funnel efforts, because it's, when people talk about, like, the quality of traffic, right? That tends to be what they're talking about.
Exactly. And I've heard that more and more and more. Like, it used to be something that I used to have to get buy-in from internally for being like, listen, we're going to get less traffic, but you're going to get better traffic. But the more I'm having sales calls with people, the more I see their eyes actually agreeing with me, which is fantastic, right? Like, because traffic is a vanity metric.
Yeah, it's directional. Like,
exactly.
It doesn't directly convert into revenue, and it is AI has shaken up everything, but there are certain things where it's kind of like opening the door to moving people in a direction I feel like we've wanted people to move in. And I think this is one of those examples of...
I'm totally behind that. Yeah, I completely agree with you, because you think about this the same way, right? Like, traffic
absolutely.
How do you think about this?
No, I mean, I agree completely, because traffic, this was the kind of big assessment around, like, top of the funnel, right? It was like, what's the value there? And I understand that there is still some value. It's just it's reframing it. Yeah, and it's a certain kind of top of the funnel. It's not like the really tangential stuff that people got away with for a long time. But especially with LLMs, it's like, if you're going to invest in anything, you have to make sure that the things that are really obvious when, like you were saying, that people are looking for you, these comparison queries or the best of queries and all those, if you're not capturing that, there's no point in going even broader. You can have the luxury of the higher funnel stuff when you've nailed the rest of it.
Exactly. And all those big brands that are like, that are out there, they're the ones winning for those higher queries at the moment. So like, if you want to fight against Forbes or Bloomberg, like, congratulations, go ahead.
Right.
But
good luck.
I'm not making that.
Right.
Because they're clamoring for that traffic as well right now, right? Like, everybody's clamoring for that traffic. So if you're going to fight against Bloomberg or Forbes or like these giant organizations who have like 25 years ahead of you, then congratulations.
Yeah.
But your 2-year-old brand is not going to win.
Right. Right. The internet's been around too long. There's too much content at this point.
Right?
Unless you could truly, if you find, I'm sure there's still some cases where something good enough hasn't been created and people have been phoning it in for a while, but that's not the majority of search results.
No, Rand has told us about 10x in content for what, like about 10 years now?
Yeah. I mean, Brian Dean's skyscraper method, right, was so many years ago now. And it's like people have been, and now we have AI churning out baseline
automatic
good.
Yeah, automatic
so,
10x content or automatic skyscraper methods, like,
right. It's interesting out there in the content world. That's a whole separate talk. But so tactically, right, you're doing this research, you're saying, okay, we know who they're trying to reach. You're getting a sense of what those prompts are based on, and you're saying, you're not really basing it on necessarily even like volume numbers, which can help directionally, but you're mostly concerned with the language you're receiving from the people you're working with. Like, what are the people on the sales call saying?
Yeah, and then we layer in the keyword research, like,
Okay.
and look for gaps, right? Like, there still is that opportunity, like you said, for the comparison queries or like that kind of stuff. That seems to be a huge tactic right now. It being February that we're doing this in of 2025. It's like an incredibly
2026, girl.
2026. Holy, oh, I lost a year. Yeah, but in February of 2026, like, this comparison stuff is an incredibly huge conversation that everyone's having right now. And I've seen Lily Ray sharing a ton on it, right? Like, it's a huge thing. But I think that's the wave that we're hitting. So we're hitting the crest of the wave of that kind of content. And then the wave will go back down and people will find something else to talk about. And the wave will go back down again, because comparison content isn't new by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
I worked for a VPN back in the day that, like, they were doing that 10 years ago. So, like, this is not new.
Yeah, this was an SEO tactic before it was an LLM tactic.
100%. Yeah.
And,
so it's just,
so what do you think is, what do you think is the fads? Like, it all has merit to it, but it's not like the only thing you should focus on.
I still think you need to do it. It's just the bar gets higher and higher of doing it. And the way that you answer those things just can't be this churn and burn kind of content anymore, right? Like, and it can be programmatic to a point. Like, if you're making 5 pages, but one client I'm working with, they have a competitor who's made upwards of like 200 listicles where they're the number one query on this. And then they've made a landing page for those listicles, which I'm like, it's a little bit on the nose. Like, it's pretty easy to filter that kind of stuff out. And I find that kind of stuff is going to be the stuff that'll get hit first. So I'm watching that kind of content.
That's what I was curious about when you say kind of like it can't be base level quality anymore. Like, how would you level up a comparison or a best of list?
So the latest and greatest that I've seen is not just a pros and cons, but like why you would use us and why you wouldn't use us. Is so, like, not just differentiators, but like also showing where your
your ICP, basically.
Your ICP fails. So like if you're a 13-year-old girl, like of course you're going to be using TikTok, but if you're a 40-year-old person who can't edit a video, then maybe you don't go on TikTok, right? Like
right. And just being candid about it.
Yeah, just being honestly upfront with your users, because I think they're looking for that as much as everybody else is. Because we've all seen comparison lists where it's just like, I'm the best, I can do this. You know, everyone is our person, and you have to self-satisfy your way through that. But just being like, listen, this isn't for 45-year-old men who can't edit videos. Like, cool, okay, right. I'll find something else. Then there's something else out there for you, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So you take this natural language, you overlay the keyword research on top of it. You have your list of topics. And then is it essentially a content play at that point? Is it, what do you have? What do you, like you said, you're looking for the gaps, but is it just content creation then? Content auditing?
Content creation, content auditing, and then technically creating that with the technical layer of how you make that content. So then we have to make like templates, or clusters, or however that information moves within the organization. We have one client who's actually doing a glossary as well, which I find interesting as a content play. But I don't know how that's going to run out.
I'd be curious. You gotta let me know.
Yeah. I will. Yeah, we'll circle back once it's fully rolled out. And it is a content play, but then that's where it gets the most interesting, because it depends on what we have on the other side of our client engagement to work with, whether or not they have content people, if they have devs to help us, if they have editors. I'm working with one organization that has a whole team. I literally just provide them the research and they just kind of go.
Yeah.
But then we have other folks that we work with directly that we own the whole funnel. So like, we've made the research, we've made the 6-month plan. Here's every month broken out of what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to execute on it. And we send you briefs every week. You approve them. Then it goes into writing. Then you guys approve them. And then we publish them. And then we publish the entire cluster. And then we run like internal linking sprints or external linking sprints, or talk to devs about how we're going to include the rest of the content within the entire website, or how we're going to promote that content. So it kind of runs the whole gamut.
Yeah. You mentioned the glossary thing. When we had Crystal Carter on, she mentioned knowledge base content as well. Is it typically blog posts? Like what kind of content are you working on?
Unfortunately, yeah. I was on another podcast with Ross, on Siege's podcast. And I would love to remove the word blogs, honestly, and just have that be like content. Because it still is content. Like, I feel like blogs is limiting towards what this content needs to do in 2026. And Crystal's totally right? Like, we need to make sure that it lives beyond just a blog. Because that word has evolved and shifted, but people's understanding hasn't evolved with it. They just think we're just onboarding a client that they have an SEO agency who's like publishing 3 blogs a month, and that's the first place that I'm going to investigate, because I don't know what that means. And my understanding of what that means is hopefully not what they're doing, but is probably
what are you worried they're doing?
I'm just worried they're just like randomly spinning through keywords and just spitting that out as a blog, like 500 words directly to the site with no oversight, and there's nothing included in that, which I feel is very limiting, and it's not going to perform.
Yeah.
Because of the 10x content and the skyscraper stuff that we were talking about, right? Like, that's anybody can just implement Brian Dean's skyscraper technique into an LLM, and congratulations, you've 10x your content. So like,
it's totally
you writing a 500-word blog post is not going to perform.
Right. Okay. You've created all this content.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's go back to what we were talking about at the beginning, which was this stuff is difficult to measure.
Yes.
So you create all of this. How much time are you waiting? How often are you checking? And what are you checking to start building that case around it? Not even building the case, to see if you're heading in the right direction, A. And B, I don't know why I started with my pinky and went to my pointer. Then starting to build the case around like, this program, like this approach is worthwhile and will drive revenue.
We do, this may limit us and may make us sound dumb, but I don't care, is we do our reporting weekly. And it's not heavy lifting reporting weekly. It's just a certain amount of things that we put at the top of our meetings with our clients, honestly, or bi-weekly. We do weekly or bi-weekly calls with all of our clients, and we literally share reporting weekly or bi-weekly. And that comes out of their GA4, sure, Search Console, Bing now, and goes by conversions of whatever that metric is that we talk a lot about with our clients to make sure it's set up properly. Yeah, I know it's not a perfect, and this is why I say it with this hesitation, because it's not perfect and it does need continual iteration with this whole world that's happening, but that's the best baseline as we can get at the moment. So yeah, we do weekly or bi-weekly reporting, and it's just like a chart, honestly, that we pull numbers out of and just put it in there to know, and then we talk through it with our clients. Like if things end up being red in the negative, then we're like, oh crud, why is this red, right? Like if it's just traffic, we're like, well, traffic is declining for a lot of things,
right?
Probably.
Yeah.
But then we start to show where the traffic is going up. So like if we've been working on their feature pages, then yeah, we make sure to show them that they're getting more traffic for their feature pages or their service pages or their core pages that we've been working on, instead of like this weirdness in the corner that like isn't helpful.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And I know there is no perfect through line.
Right.
So you were saying you kind of set it up in Google Analytics to try to capture the conversions.
We do. And then we set up LLM tracking in GA4 as well, which is also far from perfect. Very far from perfect. But it's something, and it's all in the same house as well. So like instead of pulling things from 6 different places around the internet, and being like, but how do they calculate this? And how do they calculate this? And where does this come from? Like, at least I can just be like, oh, okay, we've set up an LLM report to understand how much traffic is showing up in there, right? Like, and we've set up conversion metrics in GA4 to understand how many people have made it from point A to point B. Whatever so that messy middle
there is a value like, right now.
Yeah. Exactly. So like instead of pulling things out of the email buckets, because I'm sure you get those too, of like 600 AI tools that are coming out weekly. And I think that's a small number compared to how many are actually coming out weekly. But like I can't rest my laurels on it being like some other third-party thing at this moment versus GA4, which I never thought I'd be at the point of saying, because I don't like GA4. I don't think any SEO likes GA4, except for Dana DeTomaso and
we have her. She's
Anderson.
My next interview.
Yeah. So
I was like, tell me what to do, because that is not my strong suit.
I have literally bought Dana's courses, and Bree too. Those two I think love
Bree Anderson.
Yeah. And I 100% have tried to hire them on multiple projects to be like, help me. So, and I kind of still believe in GA4 because of those two people.
Yeah.
Because they are, and they're proving that it works still, versus the other things that are out there. I think the other things are getting closer. Like I also love to use Fathom Analytics as a privacy kind of third party kind of thing. And they have just launched pulling in Search Console data. So I'm going to go dig into that one because I love them. And I'm not being paid to say that I've never been paid to say that by them. I just love them. And they're Canadian. So
there you go.
That's probably why I love them. But yeah, you can also pipe your GA4 data into Fathom Analytics too. So that also makes me feel like I have a base level understanding of where all this stuff is coming from. Yeah, I think that's my long answer. Is I just it has to be in something that is like industry standard at this point without like going off the rails.
So is there any of those other like directional pieces that are being pulled into the story, because like you'll be able to get, like you said, some degree of information around conversions, but the supporting stuff, like for example, just within LLM visibility, right? There's your brand name appearing in the result. There's a citation.
Yes.
There, like there's the nuances of how you're showing up. Like, where does that factor into the measurement and the conversation?
We've started to think about that as far as like competitors, like how you're showing up compared to your competitors, which you can see in multiple places across the web, including SEMrush. They do a great job of that, as well as the overall visibility for your brand and mentions. Those are the three things. I talked to Morty on a podcast about mentions versus like something else. I can't remember, when he was doing SEMrush stuff too. So like you can go back and check that. And it was a really cool conversation that I had with him.
I'll put a link to that.
Yeah, to him and Nick Leroy, and the three of us were going on about that. It was very cool, but that was like 6 months ago. So like, I think by today's metrics, visibility as an overall thing, but I don't really know how that visibility works, because you have to include like you versus somebody else as a baseline, right? So competitors is the one that we've been going with, but those also change because we're in a SERP where the competitors are completely flipped on their heads right now too. So it's a whole new set of people that we're going after, which has kind of made me rethink my whole process. But yeah, for now it's competitors and an AI visibility, and then citations. Yeah, so citations for whatever amount of prompts that you're showing up for, right?
So again, when you see those,
that's an empty vacuum, and that one is the perspective, right? Like, how long is a piece of string? You could have that many prompts.
Right. Yeah. So when you say, you're looking at competitors, are you checking those prompts that you had assessed and seeing, are you both being mentioned? Is one or the other being mentioned? And I see what you're saying, because in SEMrush it'll be like, oh, you're mentioned in this, but your competitors aren't, vice versa, or both. Right. So that's what you're talking about. You're talking about like, are you looking at the order or anything like that? Or is it like you're showing up, you're not showing up, you are showing
up, and then looking at the prompt of whatever you're showing up for. Like, because I found that a bunch of the prompts that they show you up for are just kind of garbage too. So like, again, there's so much nuance that I don't think we've put into prompts yet to be able to circle that argument perfectly. It's still very innocuous. But yeah, for now, it's seeing that you show up for the prompts that you want to show up for, that ideally have some sort of keyword in them.
Or at least somewhat relevant.
that fit within the topic that you have. There are some AI visibility tools that are layering prompts up to topics, which is a new thing, a brand new thing, which I'm very much enjoying. That I very much enjoy, because like that's the way that I kind of think about keyword research too, right? Like, you're pulling everything into a topic of ideally what that ICP document is identifying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it goes through the journey of happiness.
So then, if that's the like brand mention side, for the citation side, when you're tracking citations, what are the insights you're trying to get from, there's like the raw number of like, you've been cited this many times,
right,
this many prompts, but like outside of that, what are you looking for? Are you looking for like, the pages that are being cited the most and why?
Yes.
Yeah, dig into that.
100% the pages that are being cited, because we don't tend to work on the entire site. Like, for smaller sites, yes, but for the bigger ones, as you get bigger, you're working on clusters of sections of things, right? Like, so, and there might be whole other teams that are working on different parts of it. So that goes back to like us sharing our reporting too, right? Like, to show that we've shown up for a cluster of prompts to go to these pages, and that these are the prompts that are showing, and that you've got traffic from those, or people are looking for those, and they're still a valued user, to know that you are the answer to that question. So it all just kind of flows into that. Yes, definitely. Especially in the bigger sites where you're like, but this stuff went down and we weren't working on that.
Yeah.
Or we took our eye off of that every couple months, right? And then that's an opportunity to be like, oh, well, maybe our topic research is quarterly now, which is something that I would love to get to the point of, is having that topic research be like a loop. a loop of like, oh, maybe we missed something last quarter and we can pull that in this quarter because the internet is moving faster. And prompts are just going to come up out of nowhere and people are going to make up things that are going to come out of nowhere. So like, I think we can't do keyword research yearly. That would be leaving too much on the table now, or prompt research or topic research is that has to be a looping kind of mechanism as well to be able to find that stuff.
Yeah, so even if you're reporting weekly, you're reassessing the foundations for that reporting quarterly.
Yeah. Which just means we're doing more.
So if somebody had to, if somebody's listening and they're like, okay, I got to make my own version of reporting and they need 5 metrics to put on that, like what would be your top 5?
So we do pull in traffic to the entire site from organic. We pull in conversions from organic, and making sure that conversion point is something that you want, right? Like, so people signing up for a demo, people signing up to like do a trial, whatever that thing is, right? We pull in traffic from LLMs, which is not as like amazing at this point, but it is something. And then we've started to pull in AI prompts, or the amount of prompts from Bing as well, just to see, just to track that directionally, as you say. I love that word. I think I'm going to steal it. So thank you, Amanda. Yeah, because so much of this stuff is just directional at this point, but it's the conversions that we want to have. Oh, and then if you can get some sort of money amount from something that your client is able to provide you, whether or not you've got converted, because a lot of the times with the amount of companies that we work with at the levels that we work with, we don't see them converting to a paid account. Like that happens in a whole separate system instead of just somebody filling out a form or signing up for a trial. So if you can get access to that information, whether it be in HubSpot or any one Mixpanel or any one of the hundreds of product tools that are out there that now provide that information, that is killer to know that happens. And then make sure that all goes back to organic, whether or not it's first touch, last touch, I don't care. I just don't care.
Just attribute it to organic. It's inbound. It's
inbound, it's organic, and I'll take it at this point.
All right, what did we not touch on? Is there anything else that people who are thinking through how they're going to build an AI visibility program and you kind of you laid out the steps of the process of when you work with clients. Is there something else they need to keep in mind that we didn't talk about?
The one piece I would say, which is going to take up more time, unfortunately, is testing. Is testing for these tools or these metrics, whatever it is out there. We have one client that we're pulling in a metric for of AIOs that they show up in. Which is a metric just for them, but I think we're going to roll it out to all of our clients because I think that's really helpful. And that came from one conversation that we had with one client. So, and that was only 4 months ago that we thought of that as something to track for, because hello Google, please give us AIOs for companies, please. I know it's complicated.
We're begging.
I'm begging you. Just something. Give us just something. So we do that, but just constantly question what you're tracking at this moment, because it's all new and it's all weird and we're all going through it together. So just question what you're doing and then try things out. I've been trialing out a bunch of different AI tracking software things. Like we said, there's 600 that come out every week. So sure, try them out, right? They might give you some sort of insight into something long-term that the rest of them will end up taking up on and that you can use for your own.
That's true. Even just for inspiration for a direction to go in you hadn't even thought about. Most of these have free trials. You can go in there, poke around and be like, oh, I didn't even think about that angle or that way of framing something.
Exactly. So, and it's all new and fancy and we're all just going to learn from each other. So I think it's all the time to just be sponges and pull in as much information as we can. And then we can be armed with as much when we go to talk to clients and be better knowledgeable about that. Google today, actually, I saw just put out an AI certification course on Coursera. So I'm thinking I might take that too, right? Also, like, arm yourself with as much information as you can about what we're going into. Like, I've taken 4 or 5 AI courses about, like, how these things work or how people are doing things. I took a Steve Toth one, too, which was really helpful. And I took a Brittany Muller one as well. Like, I'm constantly upgrading myself at this point because it feels like SEO did when, like, 15, 20 years ago, when we were all like, I don't know what's happening, but maybe somebody else does. So, yeah, and the SEO community, or the whatever we're calling ourselves, is very helpful with sharing their knowledge. So
that's true.
Take advantage of that, truly, at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Jess, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. It's always a joy.
I agree. If people want to find more of what you're up to, what you're writing, what you're working on, where can they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn, Jess Joyce. You could follow me or DM me. Just, I've had a bunch of wonderful conversations with people in DMs even that are just authentic, which I'm really pumped for. And then my company is InboundScope.com, so you can find us there. And a bunch about what we do and how we think about the internet at this moment. I'm constantly changing it, so join us for the ride.
Love it. Love it. Thank you again, Jess. And thank you all so much for listening. If you want an invite to the after party, sign up for our newsletter. That's where we drop exclusive behind the scenes tidbits and where guests answer our spicy question of the month. This month's spicy question, Jess, so think about this. What is an uncomfortable truth that marketers need to hear right now?
Okay.
Until next time, keep learning, keep testing, and keep showing up.